must unite now. We must have one army. We must have one currency. We must have one foreign policy. We must be united.
But the scars, we are all feeling them today. For example, up to now, with our large territory, Namibia has one of the lowest population. Definitely, what do you expect when during that time we lost so many of our citizens? It will take us years to recover. Those humorous acts, of course, are now part of our collective history of resistance and resilience in our march to freedom. Namibia is today free, peaceful, and we are now focusing on the task of building a country in which each citizen can fulfill their potential. However, we shall never forget the emotional, psychological, economical, and cultural scars which remains enacted in the affected communities and the broader fibers of our nation. In that day, our presence at this occasion marks a decisive step towards and forward in dealing with the past by collectively remembering and sharing the pain of the directly affected over Herero and Nama communities. No doubt, during that frightful genocide chapter in our history, those two communities went through the most humorous, devastating, and traumatic period in their lives. Against this background, by Proclamation number 19 of 2024, the 28th of May was declared a day of remembrance of genocide and a public holiday.
Africa stands at a crossroads. Centuries of colonialism have left deep scars across the continent. In the modern era, neo-colonialism continues to lurk in the shadows, manipulating economies, dividing nations, and draining resources under the guise of aid and partnership. But in 2025, a powerful voice rose from Namibia, President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah. Through her speeches during 3 critical national events, she laid down a revolutionary blueprint, not only for Namibia's future, but for the entire African continent. In this episode of Africa Awakens, we take you on an extraordinary journey into the vision of Africa's first female president from Namibia. What kind of leader is she? How is she standing up to neo-colonialism? And what could happen if her powerful words are turned into action? Buckle up, this could be the spark Africa has long waited for. From the moment Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah stepped into office on March 21, 2025, Namibia's 35th Independence Day, she was more than just a leader. She was a symbol. A woman rising to power in a continent still healing from patriarchal and colonial domination. Her inauguration speech was not merely ceremonial, it was revolutionary. Have a watch.
The diversification of our economy will also generate revenue to finance developmental and enhance and expand social safety nets. It will also create jobs to take care of the unemployed, of which majority are the youth. Opportunities will be created for the effective participation of the youth and women in various sectors of our economy through targeted financing, training, mentorship, and internship program.
Her words cut through the political fog like a spear. She wasn't just talking to Namibians. She was addressing Africa. Nandi Ndaitwah sees leadership not as control, but as coordination. Not as hierarchy, but as harmony. Her tone is maternal, but her message is fierce: unity, peace, and purpose. A month later, on April 23, 2025, during the opening of the Namibia International Energy Conference, Nandi Ndaitwah took direct aim at the lifeblood of neo-colonialism, resource control. Namibia has oil and gas. Have a watch.
Namibia has oil and gas. We cannot claim this to be a Namibian resources. It's a resources in our region. It's a resource in the neighborhood, and we can all benefit from it.
This statement might seem mild to the unaware, but for those who understand Africa's historical exploitation, it was a bombshell. She was redefining ownership. By refusing to hoard Namibia's newfound energy wealth and instead promoting regional cooperation, she was rejecting the old playbook, where Western corporations pillage African resources while pitting nations against each other. Instead, she envisioned a united Africa, building cross-border infrastructure, energy grids, and mutual prosperity. In her world, Africa is not a continent of 54 fragmented states. It's one powerful entity with shared destinies. Then came May 28, 2025, the first ever official Genocide Remembrance Day in Namibia. In honoring the victims of Germany's brutal colonial genocide against the Overherero and Nama people, President Nandi Ndaitwah didn't just mourn the past. She confronted it. The government will not interfere with the endowment fund, but will keep an eagle eye to ensure it is used for its intended purpose, she announced, speaking directly to both the descendants of victims and the international community. What she was really saying was this: no more puppet strings. No more backdoor deals. No more foreign manipulation disguised as help. The people who suffered will now lead their own healing. Namibia will not be a playground for external interests. This is what makes us stand out. She doesn't bow to powerful nations. She challenges them, not with hostility, but with integrity. Now imagine this. What if Africa truly followed her lead? Regional integration becomes more than a dream. Instead of competing, African countries collaborate. Oil discovered in Namibia powers factories in Botswana. Wind farms in Kenya help electrify schools in Somalia. Zambia and Namibia jointly build a youth entrepreneurship program. Trade is regional. Infrastructure is shared. Education and healthcare are cross-border concerns. Peace becomes more sustainable because poverty declines. And poverty declines because young people, Africa's greatest asset, are finally employed, empowered, and given a chance. From Lagos to Lusaka, from Cairo to Cape Town, President Nandi Ndaitwah's words echo as a call to unity, to purpose, to sovereignty. For Namibia, this means moving beyond dependency. It means no longer looking to the West as saviors, but instead to neighbors as partners. It means empowering communities, not just with money, but with trust and leadership. For Africa, it signals a paradigm shift. Her speeches connect three powerful ideas: justice, unity, and sovereignty. Justice means recognizing historical wrongs and empowering victims. Unity calls for regional integration as a tool for strength. Sovereignty demands using African resources for African benefit. These are not abstract concepts. They are action points. They imply radical education reforms, economic restructuring, and foreign policy overhaul. But most importantly, they imply belief. Belief in Africa. Belief in Africans. How can Africa progress from President Netumbo's point of view? First, youth empowerment. Africa's population is 60% youth. She believes these young people deserve more than promises. They deserve action. Skills training, entrepreneurship hubs, and digital access must be accelerated. When youth are engaged, conflict diminishes and innovation flourishes. Second, resource sovereignty. No more resource giveaways. Africa must renegotiate extractive contracts, tax foreign multinationals appropriately, and create transparent sovereign wealth funds. Third, historical reckoning. Genocide and colonialism aren't just history. They shape present injustices. African nations must demand apologies, reparations, and restitution, not just for the money, but for healing. Fourth, Pan-African infrastructure. From railroads to fiber optics, Africa must connect itself. President Namibian Ndaitwah's model promotes borderless development for mutual growth. Fifth, peace through equity. Security doesn't come from military aid, it comes from equity. When citizens have access to jobs, food, and healthcare, extremism fades. President Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah is more than a head of state. She is a mirror to Africa's pain, a map to its future, and a megaphone for its dignity. Her leadership style blends compassion with courage, humility with vision. She is not asking Africa to rise. She is showing it how. If we embrace her principles, youth empowerment, resource fairness, historical justice, regional unity, we will see not just Namibia transform, but Africa awaken. So, dear viewers, the question is not whether her vision is possible. The question is, are we ready to fight for it? This is Africa Awakens. Subscribe, share, and stay tuned, because Africa's new chapter has just begun.